So we're going to be doing the first oil change here on the new truck. This is a 2018 Dodge Ram Hemi 5.7 V8. So I'll take you through what you need to know. I'm doing this for the first time. Never worked on a Mopar really, a Mopar truck before, so it's all going to be kind of new, and I'll take you through what I hopefully know, and you can pass the savings on to you, I guess. Alright, so you're going to need 7 quarts of 5W20. Now, it does not specify in the book if it needs to be semi-synthetic or synthetic, so we're just going to use conventional, and we're using Valvoline. A couple of reasons for that. One, it was on sale, and basically that was it. That's the only reason. In the book it says to use like Shell Helix, which I couldn't find anywhere, or Pennzoil 5W20. Or it says it needs to meet some sort of Chrysler certification or number here. So if you look at the bottom right here, it says Chrysler MS 6395. It needs to meet that specification. Now I know usually it says like, what is it, SN here? I don't know what that means, but that's like some sort of standard 2 or whatever, but it's got to say that. And I went through most of the motor oils in the store. Most of them had this MS whatever I said it was, 6395. Is that what it is? Yeah. There was only I think one, and that was like kind of an off-the-wall brand that didn't have it. So I guess kind of check on that. I'm sure you could probably run synthetic if you wanted, but this stuff was $2.99 a quart, so that is why I went with the Valvoline. Also got some vintage Valvoline here. I got the 2 older bottles. This must be the new design. I got these. These are leftovers, so that's pretty sweet. And I bought enough for 2 oil changes. I got the other ones warming up on the engine so that the oil flows a little bit nicer. And then the other thing you're going to need is a Mopar oil filter. Now again, I'm not a big like Mopar type of guy and anything like that. I thought I could have just used like a Mobil 1 filter or even a Fram, and I know I'm going to get crucified for saying Fram, but I don't think they're bad filter. But anyway, I talked with a guy that he's big into Mopar, which that's not the reason why I bought the filter. He's one of our fleet mechanics, and the guy is super sharp, like a tack. Like, he knows everything. And I trust his better judgment. He said, go with the factory filter, go with Mopar. So I think these filters I got from Walmart, and I hope these are the right ones. We'll find out. They were like $6 to maybe $9 a piece. So, I mean, it's enough. I think a Mobil 1 filter, I think, is like 11 to 13, I want to say. So, I mean, the Mobil 1s are more expensive, but I'm going with just this is just the Mopar factory filter. Now, like I said, hopefully this is the correct filter. I think it is. So, and it's got extra numbers on it and stuff. I'm not really sure. Like I said, I'm not much of a Mopar guy. If you want to look in the inside of the filter, that's kind of what it looks like. So, but yeah, like these were, like I said, somewhere between 6 and 9, and then I also picked up a filter for my Mustang, the old FL1A, or in Fram equivalent would be the PH8A. That is a huge filter. This filter was $3.94. Like, ugh, that is just wonderful. Look at how big that filter is. Thing probably holds half a quart of oil. Anyway, so we'll get to the next part here, and it's going to be probably draining it, I'm thinking. So there again, 7 quarts of Valvoline. I just got that warming up on the engine because, like I said, I used this to tow a load of wood home again, so it's pretty warm. And then what I like to do is pull the oil fill cap. I don't know if there's actually going to be any type of vacuum. I know sometimes you can end up with vacuum, but I like to take that off. And then I also, at the very least, will pull the dipstick out or all the way. I mean, it really doesn't matter at this point. But then we'll sneak underneath and we'll drop the actual oil plug. Alright, so along the driver's side door here is where I'm going to come through and underneath. It's the easiest way to get to your oil pan. Like I said, this oil pan is going to take 7 quarts, and if you kind of look at it, it probably wouldn't hurt to have this thing up on ramps either. It gives you just a little bit more room. Or if you got yourself a a hoist to put it on, that would be pretty nice as well. But anyway, this pan kind of has a sump. If I get in here, there you go. So you can kind of see how it's sumped there, and then it continues towards the front. So I mean, if you did have it up on ramps, it should all run back to where your plug is here. So just the way it's laid out, I think it's okay just the way it is. For future, I may put it up on ramps just because it'll give me a little bit more room to work. Alright, so what I'm using here is a 1/2 inch Craftsman 6-point wrench here, and this is actually not very tight at all. So no idea if this pan is going to hold 7 quarts. I probably should have a backup plan, but sometimes you just got to go with it and see what happens. So I think I'll put my light there. This is very high-tech production here. This plug feels like it's got like a huge rubber washer on it. 7 quarts, here we go. Oh, that's good, the oil's not very dirty. Shouldn't be. And the pan's filling up. Still pretty good. Pan's about half. It's still going. Anytime now, it can start to taper down. We're about 3/4 full. So this pan must hold 2 gallons, huh? So it's gonna be close. Yeah, it's definitely not full. One thing I do like about this is how easy it is to get the oil pan and the oil plug, and it looks like it's not gonna like wash anything down with oil. Like I know a lot of the Fords they used to do it, you just would make a mess. Yeah, we got plenty of room in that pan. All right, so oil pan design, awesome. Works out great. Oil filter, not as nice. Also, get it up on ramps. You're gonna need ramps to get to the front. So the oil pan is behind the wheel. Oil filter is kind of in line with the wheel. I would say actually pretty close to being in line with the power steering rack and pinion, which is awesome. So you have your rack and pinion below, the oil filter is right above. So as soon as you unthread that filter, all your oil is gonna coat that rack and pinion, just like the old Fords. Awesome. Yeah, so without the ramps, you wouldn't be able to get, at least I can't on a creeper, I can't get underneath. So here's part of our, be your inner tie rod on that rack and pinion. And then I think, yeah, you can see it through here if we come above this front sway bar here. Right there you can see it. It's got a number on it. The number looks different than the number I have. Hopefully that's, I didn't get the wrong filter. It's really, like I said, the book does not have the oil filter number in it, which is kind of dumb. You think it would give you the number of the oil filter. Maybe it's somewhere listed on the truck, but I didn't see it. So there you can see the oil filter. It's kind of sent out the screen. I'm not going to be able to get any video of me actually taking that filter off. It's just going to be impossible. There's our 7 quarts. That's where we're at. So also I noticed too when I got it up on the ramps here, the oil actually drained down much quicker as well. So it might not be a bad idea to put it up on ramps anyway. Like I said, that sump is all towards the back where the plug is. So all right, so there's the old oil filter, and I just brought the new one over here. It is the same filter, same number. Now, one thing to note, because this is what I had, difficulty finding, was one, they didn't have it listed in the book, but then the number, like depending on where you went, like if you were looking on Amazon or one of the car places, they sometimes use this number, or they sometimes use this MO339. I don't understand. I guess 339 comes in here, but then you got all these other numbers, and then it also has a, I don't know. I do not understand why they can't keep it a little bit more simple. Oh, it's made in the United States. That's good. That's cool. So yeah, one thing to note, the used filter here, right there, factory installed. Yes. So now my biggest quandary here, I guess, is going to be if I should put this filter on eBay and try to sell it. I mean, a lot of people on eBay, and get big money for it, but I could take it to the Iola Old Car Show where people are willing to pay anything. So, I mean, it's kind of a toss-up. I mean, I could get it on eBay now and probably make a few hundred on this factory. I mean, this is a factory installed filter. Where are you going to find something like that? And it says it right on there. This is a genuine Mopar factory installed filter. Like, is that just not something? I don't know. I might have to save it for the Iola Car Show. I don't know. I know there have been people at Iola that have brought stuff like rusted scrap iron from the junkyard and then have sold it for a few $100s just because people are willing to pay a lot of money for junk. I don't know, maybe it's just the people that come up from Illinois. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to get this filter put on here. So again, I'm going to hit it with some oil around the rubber ring. And you can actually probably pre-fill that filter if you want, because it sits like this up in there, so nothing's going to spill. So that way it's nice. It did do a nice job of running all over everything. You could probably poke a hole in the bottom of the filter if you want to let it drain. That's great. You're still going to end up with oil all over everything. There's just no good way of doing it. So I'm going to get this one set up here. I'm going to put that one on and we'll go from there. Alright, so since I got it up on ramps, I actually have a step stool just so I can get up high enough to get back far enough to reach the engine. Also too, you can see there's not a lot of room here. This is 24 feet. So you need a pretty decent sized garage to do any type of work. Granted, I have the ball hitch on, but you can see there's not a lot of room between the door there. So it's a big truck. So yeah, I just cleaned the funnel out, put the oil plug back in. I don't know, the oil pan could be some sort of composite material. It didn't seem like it was metal. The plug definitely seemed odd, so like I definitely would reef that down. I would take it kind of easy with that, and honestly it doesn't need to be super tight. Just as long as it's snug. If it's gonna leak, then you need to do something else. You probably are missing a gasket or something. So like I said, we're just using, this is conventional 5W20 Valvoline, and it's because it was on sale. It was $2.99 a quart. It also meets all of the Chrysler specifications for this engine, so that should be good enough. You're draining into the pan. It's funny that an engine this size that uses 7 quarts of oil has such a little tiny filter, and you think of like, well, that Ford filter, that's for an old 302 V8 that they use such a huge filter on there. Now everybody's gone to the smaller filters for vehicles and whatnot. It's nice that this is an even 7 quarts, that it's not like 5 5/8 or what else have I seen, like 7 3/8 of a quart. Really, you can't just make it 7 1/2. It's got to be 7 3/8. Like, there's stuff like that I don't quite understand why they do stuff like that, especially if the car is going to be driven in the States and you use, you know, gallons, quarts as your measurements. Like, make it something even. So yeah, otherwise it's not a terrible oil change. The filter though, they definitely could have put that in a better spot. It's kind of a dumb location. If you're doing it, I would definitely, like I said, put it up on ramps. Otherwise you're going to be on your back without a creeper. There's just not enough clearance under the front, which is funny because the Xterra, I can do that on the creeper, and well, maybe I don't get all the way underneath, but I can do it from the creeper. This one I wouldn't be able to do it. The engine's set back too far. So yeah, all right, I'm gonna get the oil put in here, and then we'll go from there. So I already listed that oil filter. I decided I was going to put it on eBay. No reserve, so we'll see where that goes. I don't know. I might have to set a reserve. I don't know if I can just let that go. You know, something like that, a factory installed filter, like, and low mileage factory installed filter. There's only what, 1,700 miles? It's under 2,000 miles. That's a good filter yet. So. Alright, so the John Deere's running outside, so it must be time to start this thing up. So we're still up on the ramps here, and let's see what happens here. USB. There we go. Let's turn that off. So, alright, so there's our specs. Let's see. So the bottom one there is going to be your oil pressure. I don't know, there's probably a red warning light somewhere too, but we're just going to stay zoomed on this and see how long it takes for us to build pressure. That wasn't too bad, I guess. Alright, so if your truck isn't up on ramps or you started it off ramps, I'd let it sit for a little bit after you run it and then pull the dipstick and check to make sure you got the right amount in there. Like I said, the book said 7 quarts, so I'm going to assume that that's right. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. Minimum spillage with the oil. I got that cool factory installed filter that I can eBay or take to the Iola Old Car Show swap meet and sell it for probably a few $100 to some guy who's gun-ho on Mopar. And what else? Oh, Fram filters, and they're awesome. So go ahead, light me up on that, because I know most of you will. Everybody hates Fram filters. That's all my dad used in his cars that he used for delivering mail. And I think the car they hit most miles on was over 250,000, and that nothing on the motor was ever touched. And that was Quaker State and Fram filters. And he had a bunch of other cars that had over 100. I think that the Taurus he had, I think that had 200, but then the cars all before that, I think were about 100,000, 80,000 mile. That was back in the 70s though, where everything was kind of questionable quality control with the oils and stuff. But yeah, so there you go. That's going to be your 2018 Ram Express 5.7 liter Hemi oil change.